This week marks the sad 19th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Due to COVID-19, the reading of the names of the fallen will not be done by family members in person at Ground Zero in New York. The names will be recorded by family members, then broadcast via speakers across Memorial Plaza. 6 minutes of silence will be observed throughout the ceremony commemorating when each of the World Trade Center towers were struck and fell, as well as the times corresponding to the attack on the Pentagon and the crash of United Flight 93 in Pennsylvania. President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden are both scheduled to pay their respects to the Flight 93 National Memorial in Shanksville. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife Karen will attend memorial ceremonies in New York to mark the ceremony. And Pope Francis has accepted the resignation of Bishop-elect of Duluth, Minnesota, Michael J. Malloy. This after accusations surfaced in August that as a priest he abused a minor in the 1980s. According to a statement by the Diocese of Rapid City, the allegation against Malloy appeared after his appointment to Duluth in June. The diocese commissioned an independent and full investigation, according to canon law, after Malloy received a summary of that report and an allegation against him. He submitted his resignation as the Bishop-elect of Duluth. So far, there have been no other allegations of sexual abuse involving Malloy. His installation as bishop was scheduled to take place October 1st. And at his Wednesday audience, Pope Francis addressed what he called the wounds of the coronavirus and how it's afflicted society. He said, quote, "A virus that does not recognize barriers, borders, or cultural or political distinctions must be faced with a love without barriers, borders, or distinctions." He went on to lament partisan interests emerging from the pandemic and urged dialogue with political opponents, saying political enemies and opponents seem to be politically or socially disabled. They appear to be, but only God knows if they are or not. We must love them and we must dialogue. Meanwhile, ahead of the presidential election, both political parties are reaching out to voters of faith, Catholics in particular. Just what is at stake in this year's election, and what moral principles should Catholics keep in mind when going to the polls? Here to share his thoughts, I'm delighted to be joined by theologian and former head of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, Cardinal Gerhard Müller. He comes to us from EWTN studios in Rome. Your Eminence, welcome back to the program.
Welcome. Thank you much.
I want to start with the U.S. bishops and what they've said about voting in their official teaching document on political responsibility, Faithful Consciences for Faithful Citizenship. It reads this way: "In this statement, we bishops do not intend to tell Catholics for whom or against whom to vote. Our purpose is to help Catholics form their consciences in accordance with God's truth. We recognize that the responsibility to make choices in political life rests with each individual in light of a properly formed conscience, and that participation goes well beyond casting a vote in a particular election." Your Eminence, what is a properly formed conscience, and do you think most Catholics possess it at this point, whether in or out of an election year?
Yeah, grace to God. America, the United States are a democratic and free country, and therefore all the voters have the right to vote for those candidates they want to vote for them. But as a Christian and as a Catholic, you need some criteria for the election. And the bishops don't indicate you must vote for them or for them, but they give us, magisterium, give us some criteria, the doctrine of the Church, the moral doctrine and the social doctrine, and we have to look for candidates who are in favor of the life. This is the basis. You cannot say social justice is more important than the life of everybody, also of the unborn children, is the basis, is a gift of God, and the social justice is a duty we have to fulfill, and therefore we must begin with the the primacy of these criteria, and this is the right to live from the beginning of the conception until the natural death, and that is a basis for all states who are based on the human rights.
Your Eminence, in the USCCB's introductory letter, and your comments there are a good intro to their Faithful Consciences for Faithful Citizenship document, they have this to say about the protection of the unborn. The threat of abortion remains our preeminent priority because it directly attacks life itself, because it takes place within the sanctuary of the family, and because of the number of lives destroyed. At the same time, we cannot dismiss or ignore other serious threats to human life and dignity, such as racism, the environmental crisis, poverty, and the death penalty. Your Eminence, this seems to be an unequivocal prioritization of the issue of abortion above the other issues. Is that how we should read this?
It's the basis of all is the life, the right to live. And God created everybody according to His image and likeness, and therefore the life is the basis. All the other values have no basis, no reality. Social justice and the equality of everybody. If you deny the life of the people.
Your Eminence, we are hearing from many areas, even within the Catholic Church, but certainly in the political arena, that all these life issues are at the same level. Some equate support for the death penalty and the environment with support for abortion. Is that a licit comparison in the Catholic mind, in the Catholic theology?
No, I think this is impossible. There are is an order within the rights of human being. If you are looking in the Declaration of the human rights in the history, beginning in the United States until the United Nations in 48, and the other declarations of human rights we have in the modern Constitution, all are beginning with the life. And the life is the basis of all. And we can, as theologians and as Catholics, not discuss first in the political arrangement. We must begin with a moral basis. And all what we are doing in the politics depends on the moral basis. And the first commandment, or the first one of the most important commandments in the Decalogue is the respect for the life of everybody. God is a creator of human life, and this is the first respect, is a priority we have in the Catholic Church, and for all Christians is most important.
There seems to be a malicious activism, if you will, attempting to muddy the waters here of Catholic theology to, as you say, serve a political end. I want to get your thoughts, two opposing schools of thought, regarding Democratic candidate Joe Biden, a professed Catholic. David Mills, a Catholic writer in the UK, wrote a piece recently declaring that Joe Biden is not pro-life. He writes, Biden brags about being the one who saved abortion rights by blocking Robert Bork from being named to the Supreme Court. He seems to have no problem with the party's driving out its pro-life wing and even deselecting the pro-lifers it has in office. The Catholic candidate doesn't even try the old personally opposed but line. He's all in. Biden's not pro-life because he doesn't intend to be. He doesn't want what pro-lifers want. The term doesn't include people who think and speak as he does. What are your thoughts on that piece? And would you say he's judging Biden's soul or his Catholicism, or is he merely pointing out the troubling policy that Biden has embraced?
Judging a person is only can only God do, but we don't judge about persons. We do judge about some attitudes and the thinking. And if you are Catholic, you can only be pro-life, for the life given by God. To be Catholic, to be a Christian, is believing in God, the creator of everybody. And you cannot say, I am a Catholic, I am a Christian, I believe in God, by but I accept the legislation which includes the possible killing of people in the mother womb and outside the mother womb. That is absolutely clear. I don't see where there are the problems.
Father Thomas Rees, a Jesuit formerly of American Magazine, or America Magazine rather, writing in late August in the Religious News Service, came to this conclusion, and I want your theological reaction to it. Here's what he wrote. So a Catholic Republican can vote for Trump even if his policies promote racism or subject immigrants to subhuman living conditions, as long as the voter's intent is not to support those positions. And a Catholic Democrat can vote for Biden, even if his policies promote abortions and gay marriage, as long as the voter's intent is not to support those positions. In Catholic theology, intention, why you are doing something, is essential to an understanding of the morality of an action. Your reaction to Father Rees's theological reasoning here, Cardinal Müller?
I think he is confused, and this is a lie. We cannot compare these things. I don't think that Trump is in favor of racism. It is an attribution. I think that is absolutely wrong. I cannot imagine that a person with a conscience can be a racist. It's impossible, because all we are created by God, and therefore racism is absurd. We are brothers and sisters, but the basis of all the human rights is life, and that is the most important thing. The other thing are consequences. Could be that some politicians are not always consequent, but the principles, the first principles, must be very absolutely clear.
Cardinal, I want you to focus, though, on what Father Rees is attempting here. He's really creating a loophole, and he's saying, so long as you're not voting for Biden because he supports abortion, it's okay to vote for him. Is that the right way to look at this vote, theologically, morally?
That is a sophistic argumentation. The Vatican Council, Second Vatican Council, said that the abortion is an abhorrent crime, and nobody can accept it. And the Cardinal Ratzinger and the Pope John Paul II, they made declarations that all Catholic politicians are obliged in their conscience to fight against abortion and other crimes against human life.
You've said the American Constitution is the shining example for all the world. Do you feel the integrity of the Constitution is in danger of being undermined, as well as the freedom of worship, the freedom of speech, in peril as a result of this election and the election we're facing?
The United States is the most powerful country. America first, but first also in the responsibility for the religious liberty, for the liberty of speech and thinking. And America must go back to his roots in this struggle which they had with absolute understanding of kingdom in England in these times, and the absolutism or totalitarianism in the modern world we had in Germany, in Russia, right, Soviet Union, or in China today, or North Korea, or in other countries of the world. The terrorism we have in this world is a disrespect against the human life. And therefore, the United States must lead the Western democratic, free world like in the times after the Second World War or during the Second World War. We have other conditions, but the task and the mission of the United States are remaining until today, and I hope that the United States will take over their responsibility for the future, a good future of whole the globus.
Your Eminence, how has the growth of moral relativism, something about which Pope Benedict XVI repeatedly warned, how has that contributed to this current crisis we're seeing, not only in the United States, but around the world?
In our Christian thinking, we must take over our responsibility, not to withdraw against this new forms of the moral relativism. Moral relativism will be the end of the mankind. It is only destructive. And we have these reactions also in the United States. They are killing and going around the streets and destroying. All that is not a good example for the world. All the tensions which are existing in the United States and every society can only be overcome if you go back to your values.
Before I let you go, this Catholics for Biden group, a member of which is coming up shortly, they are openly endorsing Joe Biden as the Catholic candidate for president. Now, Donald Trump is not even Catholic, so perhaps this is academic. But would you say it is possible for any Catholic to endorse a candidate given their public record and platform that the Democratic Party now represents, where the pro-life plank has been dismissed, it opposes church teaching on family and religious freedom? Can a Catholic support somebody like that, much less vote for them?
I think as we are citizens in a pluralistic state with religious freedom, and I don't support a candidate in Germany because he is Catholic, but because he has the right understanding from life and the basic for the human rights. And it's better to vote for a good Protestant than for a bad Catholic. No? We must judge according to that what they are doing, and not only to their words. That is a biblical criteria. Look to the fruits.
Very good. Cardinal Müller, thank you so much for your time. Cardinal Gerhard Müller's most recent book, Roman Encounters, is still available from EWTN's Religious Catalog. Thank you so much, Your Eminence.
Thank you so much.